So the front page of JW.org has this. Can the World Cup really unite people? What does the Bible say? Find out. Now, ignoring the obvious fact that the Bible doesn't mention the World Cup or soccer or basically any modern sport except for maybe marathons. Let's see what they say. An estimated 5 billion people are expected to watch the FIFA World Cup. Many feel that such sporting events have the potential to accomplish much more than unite people as spectators. They quote Nelson Mandela: "Sport has the power to change the world, it has the power to inspire, has the power to unite people in a way that little else does." They also quote Gianni Infantino. Hopefully I've pronounced that right. I don't think I have, but football, ... which is always a curious thing when they put it in there, which means there's something that they have excluded, but that's besides the point. Unites in hope, it unites in joy, it unites in passion, it unites in love, as well as in diversity. Now that's an interesting little thing to add, as well as in diversity. Although international sporting events like the World Cup provide enjoyable entertainment, these events cannot provide lasting unity. Instead, they often showcase the divisive attitudes and actions that the Bible said would mark the time period called the last days. 2 Timothy 3:1-5. Now, are there fans who take things too far? Obviously. And that isn't exclusive to the World Cup. But that does not negate people's ability to get together in an arena or at a pub or wherever with different uniforms, cheering for different teams, supporting different clubs, and still be able to get along, have a drink, have some food, watch the game, cheer for their team without it becoming a big fight like they seem to want to say happens here. To say that they often showcase divisive attitudes and actions that the Bible said would mark the time period called the last days is actually quite ignorant from what I've seen with World Cup fans, soccer fans, and supporting individual countries in the tournament. Now, again, that isn't to say that certain people don't get rowdy and things like that, but that isn't the rule. That is more the exception for what I've seen. So they conclude with real hope for world unity. The Bible contains a real hope for global unity. It promises that all people on earth will be united under a heavenly government called the Kingdom of God. The king of that kingdom, Jesus Christ, will ensure that there will be peace worldwide. The Bible states, "The righteous will flourish, peace will abound. He will rescue the poor who cry for help. From opposition and from violence, he will rescue them." Now, here we go. Even today, Jesus' teachings have already united millions of people in 239 lands. They have learned to let go of hatred. To find out more, read the series of articles with the title "Breaking the Cycle of Hatred." Now, yes, the Bible does promise those things. Unfortunately, what they're trying to do here is point to themselves as that source to find that kingdom of God. But that's besides the point. Now, is the World Cup going to bring all of mankind together in a united way? Obviously not, and I can't think of a single person who would claim that it does. However, it has actually brought people together probably even better than they would like to admit. For example, Christmas 1914. Roughly 100,000 British and German troops were involved in the informal cessation of hostility along the Western Front. The Germans placed candles on their trenches and on Christmas trees, then continued the celebration by singing Christmas carols. The British responded by singing carols of their own. The two sides continued by shouting Christmas greetings to each other. Soon thereafter, there were excursions across no man's land where small gifts were exchanged, such as food, tobacco, alcohol, and souvenirs such as buttons and hats. The artillery in the region fell silent. The truce also allowed a breathing spell during which recently killed soldiers could be brought back behind their lines by burial parties. Joint ventures, or joint services rather, were held. In many sectors, the truce lasted through Christmas night, continuing until New Year's Day in others. On Christmas Day, Brigadier General Walter Congreve, commander of the 18th Infantry Brigade, stationed near Neuve-Capelle, wrote a letter claiming that the Germans declared a truce for the day. One of his men bravely lifted his head from the parapet, and others from both sides walked in no man's land. Officers and men shook hands, exchanged cigarettes and cigars. One of his captains smoked a cigar was the best shot in the German army. The latter, no more than 18 years old. Congreve admitted that he was reluctant to witness the truce for fear of German snipers. Now, so we have an idea of this sort of truce in no man's land between these two armies. So we continue. Many accounts of the truce involve one or more football or soccer matches played in no man's land. This was mentioned in some of the earliest reports, with a letter written by Doctor attached to the Rifle Brigade, published in the Times on the 1st of January 1915, reporting a football match played between them and us in front of the trench. Similar stories have been told over the years, often naming units or the score. Some accounts of the game bring elements of fiction by Robert Graves, a British poet and writer, who reconstructed the encounter in a story published in 1962 in Graveson's version. The score was 6-2 to the Germans, which is an interesting little bit of side information there, that the British actually attributed victory in this game to the opposing side in the war. So what's my point? Well, in one of the bloodiest conflicts, something that killed millions of men, for a brief moment in that, both sides united over Christmas and over football or soccer. Did they go back to war after that? Of course they did. But for a brief moment, and I'm sure that affected a lot of them after the war was over, how they viewed their enemy, quote unquote, was the fact that they were able to get together in no man's land after shooting each other and unite in these things, including soccer. So, will the World Cup bring world peace? Obviously not. But sometimes the best thing for humanity is to be able to unite, even temporarily, in something that millions of people enjoy. And what is wrong with that?